Hi, YouTube. Let's go over the dev update from, I believe this is the community manager, Cal, right? I think he introduced himself as the community manager. Dev update on some of the quality of life things in the works and more questions to answer. Hey, survivors and demons. Thank you to everyone who came to our first Saber community stream this week on Twitch. Our goal was to introduce you all to some of our dev team, do some fun giveaways, play a few games with some of the great community content creators and other fans who've been supporting the game since launch, and yes, answer some of your questions both on the stream and in the chat. We realized that the Q&A portion of our stream was a little light, though, and we wanted to make it up to you by addressing some of the biggest topics you've been sharing with us on our feedback site. No doubt the Q&A portion was not great. Spawning far away is demon. We heard you and identified a bug here. We are working on a fix for this in an upcoming patch. Thank you to everyone who reported this to our support team. I've never even heard of that, but hey, it's great that they actually addressed a specific thing. Banned penalties. In our first patch, we fixed a lot of issues with disconnections that should help with these penalties. We're also sorry about that. It's not the experience we want you to have. If you're still having issues, please let us know via our support site. You know what I don't understand? If they have bots in this game, why do they not have a system where a bot can take over somebody who disconnects? I don't get that. That, I think, should be a top priority. That would be fantastic. Because right now, if somebody disconnects, it's basically game over on the survivor side. I'd love to see that. More so than just like issues with disconnections and the banned penalties and stuff. Anti-cheat and reporting players. In our first patch, we implemented several measures to combat cheating and fix several bugs that were being exploited. And there are even bigger and better anti-cheat measures coming soon. We're also going to add a report player option in-game across all platforms. Until that's implemented, please use the following guide to tell us about any toxicity issues you've experienced with another player. I've only actually run into one cheater in my time playing this game. So I haven't seen this like rampant cheating people have been describing, but that's great. There's nothing negative about adding anti-cheat. I'm happy to hear that. And having an in-game report player option is excellent. I'm very glad that's coming because that's way better than having to go like into your browser and go to a website and write down someone's name. This in-game is much better. Showing support players some leaderboard love. We're evaluating ways to better show how support players contribute in matches on the leaderboard. You all do so much work and it should be better represented. More on this in the future. The only thing I want, shields given. That's all I want. It should not be mixed in with health because the amount of shields you give is significantly less than the amount of healing you give. So shields given should be its own separate category on the leaderboard and then give its own separate, whatever amount of XP and whatnot. Approach to balancing. We appreciate all the constructive and thoughtful feedback you've been providing about the survivors, demons, and weapon balance. This is an ongoing process and one we handle very carefully and deliberately. We look at actual game data primarily, but also the most commonly reported feedback from our feedback portal. Very commonly, for example, some people report that a certain character or survivors overall versus demons overall is overpowered, while others will report the opposite. And you see those discussions happening frequently in real time in Discord and Reddit, etc. So we always look at data first and then seriously investigate any collected feedback that is common and frequent. Many times we will look into a heavily reported bit of balancing feedback and find that the data shows the win rate and other statistics are pretty much even with the others. But there are definitely some improvements that can be made, and you may have noticed that we already have made some adjustments since launch in our patch notes to Cheryl, Amanda, and Evil Dead 1 Ash. I love how the adjustment they made to Amanda was fixing a bug with one of her abilities. Like, they didn't change anything about her. They just made her work the way she's supposed to. We are working on further adjustments to Evil Dead 1 Ash and are considering other tweaks as well. Again, if you have feedback about a specific character that you feel is imbalanced, we encourage you to report it to feedback.sabergames in the appropriate area. The more heavily reported by the community there, the more heavily it will be discussed and reinvestigated by our team. This is information we kind of already had from the dev stream, which is basically like, hey, they have advanced statistics at their disposal, and it's like, they know that just because there might be a bunch of people crying about something is too overpowered, if they have data that says that's not the case. But I saw an interesting thing. I read this post earlier, and I want to bring this up. I saw a comment on this post that brought up a different game where they were like, hey, there was a situation where literally 99 in this other game that they played, where 99% of the player base said this one thing's OP. But the devs looked at the data and the data said that thing wasn't OP. And so they were basically saying like, hey, just because the data says one thing, that doesn't necessarily tell the whole story. So it's a balancing act. You have to know more, like look at more than just data, and just, you can't be like, well, because the data says the community is wrong, even though the entire community is complaining this is a thing. That doesn't mean you have to listen to the data. Like you have to evaluate both. So we'll see what happens in the future. All we could do is wait and see on that one. Volume options. We're working on an option to adjust the volume on jump scares and possessions to help them from being too great or anxiety inducing for players that are sensitive to those issues. We're also evaluating other sorts of accessibility features to make the game experience better for all players. I would love that. That's not something that's like a huge priority for me, but at this point, jump scares aren't jump scaring me anymore. They're just annoying and loud. So an ability to like turn that down would be kind of nice, I guess. Persistent lobbies. We've heard that players want to stay grouped after matches. Oh, have you? Oh, have you? We're evaluating this. It's not an easy problem to solve, but we will keep you updated on our progress here in the future. Them saying it's not an easy problem to solve has me really worried. That makes me think that they're like not going to do anything about it. They're like, it's difficult and there's other priorities right now. But yes, that's really annoying that when you're playing with a group of people, you get kicked out of the party and have to re-invite. Dead by Daylight was like that in the early days of that game. And it was super annoying, and it's super annoying in this game. When is the Army of Darkness map coming out? It's in the works for this summer. A few weeks ago, we shared some early concept art from the level, and we'll share more updates soon as development progresses. We'll let you know when we've locked in a release date, and we'll also have some new screens to share soon. So their answer is basically, we don't know. Sometime this summer. That hasn't changed. Will you be adding new characters, maps, weapons, etc. to the game? The Army of Darkness map is coming soon, which will be free to all Evil Dead players, and we'll have more to share on that in the next week or so. And there will also be new weapons and characters coming in future DLC. We know there are fan favorite characters players would like to see in the game. We absolutely will be sharing more on this front soon. By the way, I want to add, if you didn't see, Bruce Campbell himself came out and said that Ted Raimi's Chet from Ash vs. Evil Dead is coming to the game. So there you go. So he says he's probably friends with Ted Raimi, I'm sure, because he's friends with Sam. And I'm sure they talked about it. And he was like, yeah, man, I did voice work for this video game. So Chet's coming at some point. I wish we could get more definitive like answers and stuff, but whatever. I'll get more into that on this question. The next one after this. What else am I getting in the season pass? Season pass owners get the classics bundle of outfits, which is available now, and also 3 upcoming DLC packs featuring new characters, outfits, and more. So basically, you get all the DLC, is what it sounds like. Why won't you release an actual detailed roadmap with dates and stuff? We understand that players would like to see detailed and specific roadmap of DLC, especially our Season 1 pass owners. We have not announced a roadmap for specific DLC content because we're still finalizing and fine-tuning content plans as we go. We, of course, don't want to share details about things that are very much subject to change, both in regards of content and dates. However, we are working on 3 upcoming DLC packs planned for release through the rest of this year, and that will include additional fan-favorite characters and other content from the Evil Dead universe. There will also be new weapons and, of course, the Castle Kandar map, free to all owners of Evil Dead the game. We will have some new screens to share of the next DLC featuring Castle Kandar map, as well as release timing info. So it's interesting that they did confirm that new weapons are coming. There was weapons that were leaked in the files, like a flamethrower. There was a minigun. We don't know if any of those are actually coming to the game or if that's cut content. But the fact that they did confirm new weapons will be in the game at some point is pretty cool. I'm excited about that. I wish they would give us a roadmap, not necessarily a roadmap that goes into like detail that's like, hey man, we have this DLC coming out in July. We have this DLC coming out in September. Even just something that's like, hey man, we know that there's 3 DLC packs coming for the rest of this year. They just confirmed that. So I would love to see something that's like, hey, DLC Pack 1 is scheduled to come out in the summer. DLC Pack 2 is scheduled to come out in the fall. And DLC Pack 3 is scheduled to come out in the winter. Even something that's like not that specific like that is what I would like to hear. And I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get that. But hopefully we'll get that at some point. I don't know. Is Evil Dead the game coming out on Switch? This is currently in the works, and we'll share some information about release timing soon. There you go. If you care about Switch. If it's anything like DVD Switch, it's going to be a nightmare. Push to talk. Hey, we've heard this one a lot, especially from our streamers, our entitled, annoying streamers like myself and content creator friends. And we're working on this. We'll post an update on social once it's fully baked. Although, even if you're not a streamer, you should want this feature, because I don't want to hear little Timmy breathing into his microphone because there's no push to talk. I don't want to hear that. So please, God, give us push to talk and put it on by default. Yeah, I'm excited for that, because I would love to use voice, but I can't while I'm streaming, because then people will hear me annoyingly commentating over it, over my gameplay. Thank you. We know there are many other things you'd like to see and get definitive yes or yes, no, when answers to, including FOV slider options, progression system additions, persistent lobbies, randomized on-screen handles, and lots more. As a rule, we are considering pretty much everything as we evaluate popular collected feedback every single week, and of course, do not want to confirm anything until we know for certain it is actually achievable on the horizon. Please stay tuned. Submit your feedback. And then finally, beyond, of course, working on improving our game experiences themselves, we also want to improve the experience for you all in our upcoming Saber streams. And so we would like to handle these sort of Q&A segments a little bit differently next time. I like that. Thank you for that. I like hearing that. Expect that we will be coming to the table ready to discuss at least several of the most hot topic items, and we'll work on collecting community questions in advance in our Saber Discord server. That doesn't mean that we still won't try to answer folks in Twitch chat as well, but this way we'll make sure we've got more of your burning questions covered. Thank you for all your ongoing support, and stay groovy. All right, good. It's nice to know that they're going to work on it and make the next Q&A segment a little more focused and actually answer some questions. That's good to hear. So, hey, we went through all this on stream, and now it's going to become a YouTube video. So everybody say hi to YouTube. Yeah, hey, if you're watching this on YouTube instead of the stream, thanks for watching and all that stuff.